Yeah, yeah. We just chillin' and vibing. Good conversations with good people. Oh, good conversations with good people. Yeah, yeah.
Yo, 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 this your boy Larry, and I'm chilling and vibing with Jordan Wotila. What's going on, man?
What's good, bro? Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. I appreciate you for coming to chill and vibe.
Yes, sir.
So, Jordan, man, where you from?
So I'm from Northern California, a town called Mendocino, and I live now currently in Tyler, Texas.
Oh, man, how was that transition being from California to Texas?
I'm always transitioning because I'm always going back and forth. So it's like I never leave, so it's great.
So how did you get into music?
So I started from 11 years old, kind of just playing the piano with the keys. There's nothing like the keys. And so I started playing just popular songs, mainstream songs such as See You Again and stuff like that. And then when I was 14, I started actually making music on SoundCloud and just actually starting to write and produce music. And then in 2020, that's when I released actual music, started to build up a little bit of a following. And then 2023 is when I started to reach a little bit of a fan base.
So, growing up, who inspired you, like musicians?
My grandpa, Jamie, was a very big musical impact in my life, who was very versatile and multi-talented. And so as a kid, he was such a big inspiration. And then all of my favorite artists that I looked up to were definitely huge inspirations coming up. And so 2020, a lot of the TikTok songs that blew up were my favorite artists, and now doing features and collaborations with them, trying to climb up the ladder.
So, like, what did your grandpa think when he found out you was doing music?
Sadly, he passed away years ago, but I like to think that he's looking up and he's proud.
Oh, yeah, he definitely is, man. So, what about like your family? What they think
My
about you doing
family,
music now?
I come from a musical family, and so it's always been supported, always had a firm foundation of music, and so, they're my ride or dies and are there to from beginning to the end.
What was your first song that you had wrote and put out?
The first song that I ever released was called Broke. It was the first kind of lo-fi rap song that I made. I've released a lot of first singles and then deleted and restarted many, many times before I started to be comfortable with my first single to be released as my first single. So the very first song I made was one I produced on the piano and produced called Broke.
So how was that first performance, man? I was watching your Instagram and I saw you was performing in front of the crowds. How was that first performance though?
It was magical. The very first real performance I did was in my barn. So I'm in my apartment on my property. My apartment is also in a barn. So we emptied out the barn and we made it a music venue. And so we got all my close friends and we got a bunch of close supporters and we just made it happen. And it was like my first performance. And then it did really well, transitioning into playing at the Fines Art Gallery and some other music venues.
Your song "We're Just Friends." How did that song come about?
Oh man, so I was in a very toxic fling or relationship, and it's from my album, my first actual album, Unreciprocated, which is what attracted my fan base on TikTok especially. We're Just Friends is the last song on the album, and it's weird because it was almost like the first song that I wrote, but I put it as the last song because I wanted to write something that I was currently going through. Sometimes we fall for someone who gives mixed signals or doesn't feel the same way, and it's all about relationship and love. And so I just wrote that from a real genuineness of raw emotion. And so I'm glad people relate to it.
So the song "I Miss Our Talks" was that in the same realm of you was going through something in a relationship?
It's funny. So I Miss Our Talks is actually closure from We're Just Friends because I Miss Our Talks is showing the pain and regret that you had in that relationship, but you have moved on as a person. You have leveled up as a person, but yet you still miss the talks of that communication with that person.
So like, what is the process being a songwriter, man? You just write about how you feel or whatever come to your mind.
I like to think that I don't write the songs, my emotions do, and then I just kind of reflect and introspect based off of what I'm feeling. And then when I write lyrics, it's more of like I'm just speaking my thoughts onto a page and acting upon it.
So your newest single, I gotta ask about this one, Dropout, because you said this is probably one of the realest songs you done wrote. How did that come about?
Dropout, I was in my car and I was on BandLab and I did a freestyle and one take and then I just made this hook and I was just really being confident in the moment, trying to, my latest single Options dropped, which is doing really well with collaboration with Aus, one of my favorite artists that I looked up to. And so Dropout was a very special single because all of my music is about growth and closure. And so Dropout is kind of every time I release a single, it always kind of piggybacks off of, all the other singles. So Dropout was just a boost of confidence that I freestyled in a minute. And now what I think is going to be the first track on the album as the intro track. This is the introduction.
That's what's up. So who would be your dream collaboration? Who would you like to
Hmm.
collab with?
I would say Kendrick, all the mainstream artists are definitely artists that I've looked up to and helped guided me in my path. So maybe in the works, who knows?
So which one was harder learning to play, the guitar or the piano?
Piano was the first instrument I learned, so piano is what started my evolution to all the other instruments that I play. So I think piano is the most complex instrument, but it is also like the most foundational instrument because there's nothing like having so many keys. And so guitar is such a universal instrument that you travel with. So like whether it's going on tour or like you always have a guitar, but I think piano, I think guitar is more difficult to learn than the piano because of the fingering, the calluses, and the exercise. You really have to exercise your growth when you play the guitar. So I think the guitar is a little more challenging, and I think the piano is more of the foundation of all the instruments.
I saw last year, you ended the year on Spotify with 25K listeners, 57K streams in 135 countries, man. Congrats. How does that
Thank you.
make you feel, as an artist independently?
I think if there was one word to describe it, I would say satisfied because I'll never be satisfied in a way to where I'll always be hustling, but I am just so grateful for just like everything that God's doing and everything that's flowing with it, and we just going up from here.
So when you're not making music, man, I see you out there skateboarding. How long have you been a skateboarder?
My whole life, I started out longboarding in my hometown in California, and then I started street skating, and then skateboarding is one of my biggest outlets. So it's definitely something that I think inspires my music a lot, and I'm glad that I can impact it with it as well.
So I gotta ask, how hard is it to do a kickflip?
We don't talk about it.
You just do it.
Yeah, you can, it's crazy because it's all about how what you learn first because a lot of people's journey with skateboarding is different because you can learn to grow and master one trick, and so I'm like being more of a bowl skater. I like cruising around the bowl and being able to change my lanes and trajectory and all of that. So I can ollie now and I can front it, I can do all these things, but kickflip I've only landed like once or twice in all of my years, so it is still a journey. So I feel like you can be good at anything, but there will always be something that you can improve upon.
So being a skateboard, I gotta ask, man, how many injuries?
Man, I mean, I got a whole bunch of scars everywhere from it. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's a number. I always fall down, but I always get back up.
Yeah, and that's the key, man. No matter what you going through in life, you fall down, you always get back up and keep pushing.
I like to tell people that the reality is that if you quit now, you will never make it. Or let me phrase it like this: is if you might make it, but if you quit now, you will never make it.
So who is your favorite skateboarder of all time?
We all know who I'm gonna say, the legend Tony Hawk.
Yeah, I remember growing up watching him, man, and yeah, he a legend.
Always will be.
So Jordan, man, if somebody would want to listen to your music, how could they do that?
Jordan Wotila on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, all on there.
So Jordan, what advice would you give a young artist wanting to start music, what would you tell them?
Be an artist, and that's all I would say is be an artist. Don't be an artist for the gain of it, because I think that if you love art, you will attract the artistry with it.
Well, Jordan, man, I appreciate you for coming to chill and vibe. But before we go, let everybody know what we doing, man.
We are chilling and we are vibing.
Oh yeah, appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me, man.